Hi everybody, welcome to our Thursday TNT, and we're hard to go past the biggest story of yesterday, and this will rattle through the Thai social media and the media space for the next few weeks, even though there's not a lot happening as far as Parliament's concerned, and we've got a 6-day long weekend. This story is going to be leading the way. Indeed, it's been leading a lot of the international services as well. I think people recognise the importance of this particular event. Now, Coconuts Bangkok, they've done a really good summary of the situation. It says Thaksin returns to Thailand in 15 days. And that's from his daughter. The former Prime Minister, Thaksin Shinawatra, will return from 15 years of exile next month, according to his daughter, Thaksin Shinawatra, a PM candidate for the party he helped found. Now, he founded this is Thaksin Shinawatra, the Thai Party. He came to power originally in the year 2000 and was re-elected in 2004 and then was kicked out by a military junta in 2006. The party then re-emerged as the Thai Party, and they've won every election basically since 2000, except for one, which was in May the 14th this year. And Thaksin turned 74 yesterday, and Thaksin's morning announcement came nearly 3 months after he vowed to return due to old age and a desire to spend time with his family. Just remembering that Thaksin Shinawatra, his youngest daughter, just had a child just before the election. And she put a date on his flight home of August the 10th. And she says he'll be coming back on August the 10th at the Don Mueang airport. Don't think he's going to be flying on a budget international flight, so I suppose that's going to be a charter flight. And Thaksin said he will submit himself to the legal process upon his return. Prior to his 2008 conviction, he left Thailand, ostensibly to visit the Beijing Olympics, and never returned. He denounced his conviction as politically motivated and has lived abroad since. His sister, Yingluck Shinawatra, was elected in 2011, only to have unrest break out over suspicion that her government was engineering Thaksin's return through an amnesty bill. So from the Thaksin side, he believes that there are 3 charges hanging over his head from junta-appointed judiciary. Supporters of the military and elite status quo staged large demonstrations until Prayut Chan-o-cha and his military cronies, that's their words, not mine, seized power in 2014. Uprooting the Shinawat's influence became a fixation of the newly installed junta. The article says that there are 2 outstanding cases against Thaksin before the National Anti-Corruption Commission. As far as nation Thailand's concerned, their coverage says Thaksin admits she, the rest of the family, concerned about Thaksin's return on August the 10th. The article says that Thaksin's been living in exile since 2008, spending most of his time in Dubai after his government was ousted by a military coup on September the 19th, 2006. He also faces several charges and jail sentences over charges of corruption, tax evasion and abuse of power. And the abbot of the Wat Hua Lampong, who chaired the rites, well, he'll probably need more than that. We're guessing that he's going to be taken into custody when he arrives at the Don Mueang airport on August the 10th. The nation, Thailand, reports that police say they do not know when Thaksin will return. Well, yes, they do. If they had their ears or eyes open yesterday, they would have been aware that Thaksin was returning. Of course, they would have been knowing this in weeks before. Immigration police say they have no official information on when self-exiled Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra will return to Thailand or what airport he'll arrive at, but they have coordinated with the police to develop procedures to follow when he enters Thailand. Interesting to see that some media call him self-exiled Prime Minister. Other media, depending on which side of the fence they sit with Thaksin, describe him as the fugitive Prime Minister. Thaksin's daughter, Thaksin, a prime ministerial candidate of the Thai Party, said yesterday that Thaksin will arrive at the Don Mueang International Airport on August the 10th. Major General Montri Pancharoen, who's responsible for overseeing immigration officers at Suvarnabhumi and Don Mueang international airports, said immigration police do not know the specific date Thaksin will be arriving. However, he added his bureau had already planned with Metropolitan Police what to do when Thaksin arrives. He says if there's a warrant or if he's a person of interest in a case, he'll be detained for further processing and will be handed over to the police for subsequent action. If Thaksin arrives during office hours, he'll be arrested and taken to court. However, if he arrives outside of office hours, he'll be taken to a special detention centre at the Narcotics Suppression Bureau and then transferred to court later. If necessary, he'll be taken to the Bangkok Remand Prison. So you can be assured of a few things. There's going to be a lot of discussion about Thaksin's return to Thailand, apparently on August the 10th, in media over the next few weeks. Taking into account that we've got a 6-day long weekend now, I think this is one of the focuses of the Thai media, exactly what the implications are of Thaksin returning to Thailand. Some suggestions yesterday that he may be given a pardon, or indeed he may have negotiated a pardon from His Majesty the King before he arrives. I can't imagine that Thaksin would be arriving or his family would let him come back to Thailand if there was any threat of him returning to jail. I mean, he's living the lap of luxury in Dubai and London and Hong Kong. Why on earth would he want to come back? I mean, he can fly his family to where he is and see them anytime he wants. He doesn't have to come back to Thailand and languish in a Thai jail. And if he's in jail, he'll be acting as a martyr, and that'll fuel even more strength to any protests coming up in the future. So he will have a big impact, whether he's free when he arrives or whether he goes to jail. So keep an eye on this, because I think it's going to be a big emerging story, as we still don't have a Prime Minister elected in Parliament. We still don't even have a new government. So plenty more to come in this story. But yesterday, that little bombshell, Thaksin Shinawatra returning to Thailand on August the 10th. And before we go on, just a very quick invitation to subscribe to the channel. Subscribers are hard to come by, and I know I need to earn your support. But if you do enjoy the program and watch it regularly, just clicking the subscribe button does a lot to help me. As far as YouTube's concerned, it doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to send you emails. Nothing happens, except we just get a little bit of extra support, and perhaps our videos shown on other parts of YouTube. So please subscribe to the channel, and whilst we're there, please also support 5 Star Marine. If you're ever in Phuket, you want to head out to the islands on a VIP charter boat. I think they've got about 14 boats in their fleet now. But please support 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description below. Now, moving to some other news today, and this is a follow-up to a big story a few weeks ago from the BangkokPost.com. Collapsed plate caused Don Mueang walkway incident. And airports of Thailand have concluded that a collapsed plate on a moving walkway caused a woman to fall and her leg to be severed at Don Mueang International Airport last month. Wow, last month? Oh yeah, it was on June the 29th. Just seems a few weeks ago. Anyway, the AOT president said yesterday that investigation found that the moving walkway between gates 4 and 5 of the second domestic terminal had a problem when one of its metal plates became detached from its frame. Consequently, a traveller fell into the mechanism and was seriously injured. So talk at the time from some early leaks on the investigation that there were several screws missing, pointing of course to the maintenance of these walkways. The report says that all 20 moving walkways at Don Mueang were suspended from service, pending inspection and necessary upgrades. And the investigation into the accident was carried out by a committee including representatives from the AOT, that's the Airports of Thailand, the Ministry of Transport, the Engineering Institute of Thailand, the Council of Engineers, and an independent academic. The AOT president apologised for the incident and promised the AOT would cover the woman's treatment costs and give her the best compensation. Understanding that there will be some legal cases that come out of this particular incident, obviously haven't been filed at this stage. And he said the AOT would hire a third party to check all parts of all moving walkways at Don Mueang Airport and also evaluate the maintenance standards of airport staff. It also intends to install sensors to detect any defects in plates on moving walkways. And 20 moving walkways at Don Mueang were installed by Hitachi Company of Japan in 1996 and its certified local dealer Siam Hitachi. And in a related development, the AOT yesterday approved the transfer of the Don Mueang General Manager to AOT as an advisor, effective from October the 1st. So another leading Thai official basically sidelined, moved to what appears to be a desk job. That story from the BangkokPost.com. Another one from the BangkokPost.com. Chadchart addresses uproar over Little China. And the Bangkok Governor Chadchart has ordered the Hua Kwang District Chief to strictly enforce laws and regulations on Chinese-funded businesses in the district. Now, this district is quite well known to me because I used to work and live in the Asok area. And if you drive about, a kilometre north, straight up that Asok Road, you drive straight into the Hua Kwang area, where there's some great shopping centres, including the Fortune Plaza, which is where I buy all my IT stuff. I can walk around there for hours very happily. And the order on Wednesday came after a recent video on TikTok by a Chinese expat who posted a review about living in Thailand. He started the video by saying he could easily live in the country, even though he could not speak any Thai. The video showed a day in his life, noting that he relied mostly on Chinese restaurants and supermarkets, both in the Hua Kwang area, as well as using Chinese-based delivery applications to order food. The delivery driver was also seen speaking Chinese fluently. The video sparked criticism among Thai netizens, with some mockingly calling the area the Thailand province of China. Some were concerned about the area being converted into Little China and being dominated by Chinese-funded businesses. So growing up in Melbourne, Australia for all those years, I became acutely aware of different ethnicities moving into the city. And of course, they used to sort of clump together in various towns. And used to go there and enjoy their culture and their food. I'm thinking of the Greeks and the Vietnamese. I mean, there are plenty of others. There used to be an area just north of Melbourne they used to call Little Saigon. But of course, these cultures have eventually sort of assimilate, and they have kids, and the kids learn English, and they become second and third generation Australians. Just a quick fun fact, Melbourne is the second largest Greek city in the world. Moving on with this article, and Mr. Chadchart said these businesses can help stimulate the economy, but he also wanted to ensure these Chinese-funded businesses to strictly follow laws and regulations, adding that some operating in the Hua Kwang area had been closed by City Hall for violating the Food Act regarding imported food. He said that he'd ordered the district office to keep an eye on Chinese-funded businesses, especially restaurants and illegal businesses. Yes, we should be keeping an eye on those illegal businesses. And as many foreign creators shot their content in Thailand, especially in Bangkok, Mr. Chadchart said this is a golden opportunity to promote tourism and persuade more foreigners to visit the country. So good to know that they're keeping an eye on those illegal businesses. Our next story today from nationthailand.com, and the headline, Thai GDP growth forecast sees downward revision as tourism revenue below estimates. The Ministry of Finance has revised down the Thai economic growth projection from 3.6 to 3.5%. The downward adjustment is due to assumptions of reduced per capita spending by tourists per trip, although the number of tourists is still expected to be around, nearly 30 million this year. And it says that it was initially expected that there would be an increase in Chinese tourists. But the majority of tourists currently are coming from Malaysia with a lower per capita spending. And Pornchai said the key factors that would impact the Thai economy and would need close monitoring were continuing recovery in the tourism sector, particularly from major countries like China, Malaysia, South Korea, India and Russia, the global oil price situation, which affects inflation trends, the state of the global economy, particularly the economies of the US and China, and geopolitical tensions in different regions, such as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and strategic competition between China and the US. So I don't think Thailand's on its own there concerned about those four particular issues. The next story coming from the PattayaNews.com. 13 tonnes of illicit substances seized in Thai-Australian anti-drug trafficking operation. And the Royal Thai Police has extended a joint operation with the Australian Federal Police to crack down on transnational drug trafficking networks between the two countries. And the joint anti-drug trafficking operation was called Task Force Storm. They've always got to have a name for these operations. And since Thailand collaborated with the AFP, a total of 20 operations have been conducted, with 6 successful operations and 14 still ongoing. And as a result of these efforts, a total of 55 drug suspects have been arrested, 13 people wanted on arrest warrants have been apprehended, and the combined amount of seized illicit substances, over 13 tonnes, valued at around about 1.15 billion baht. And the two countries have agreed to extend the joint operation for another 2 years, so that's another 2 years of Task Force Storm. And now time to check on the latest in the political world. We'll go to thaipbs.com. And the Charter Court to consider the Ombudsman's petition on August the 3rd. Now, this was the petition that was saying that the Parliament disallowing the renomination of Peter for the second time, Peter Limjaroenrat, was unconstitutional. And Thailand's Constitutional Court has scheduled a meeting on August the 3rd to consider whether to accept for consideration the Ombudsman's petition for the court to rule on the constitutionality of the July 19th decision by Parliament by majority vote to reject Move Forward Party leader Peter Limjaroenrat's renomination for the PM post. So here are the 3 options. The Constitutional Court can either choose to reject the Ombudsman's petition, accept the petition for consideration, or accept the petition and issue an injunction to suspend Parliament's Prime Ministerial selection process. Now, understanding that it's a basic tenet that there should be a separation of church, the parliament and the judiciary, a lot of people saying that the Constitutional Court should stay out of this particular argument and that the parliament should be able to sort out how it elects a prime minister. And another version from BangkokPost.com, Peter petition decision on August the 3rd. And according to the Ombudsman, several complaints from both the public and members of Parliament were lodged with the Office of the Ombudsman after the joint sitting of MPs and senators rejected Mr Peter's renomination last week. And the Democrat Party List MP, Chuan Ligpai, who was the former House Speaker and a veteran politician in Thailand, said yesterday that the PM selection is likely to be completed well before the 5-year term of the military-appointed senators expires. And that's referring to some attempts by some people to perhaps delay this whole PM selection process until next March, when the term of these senators expires. And he was responding to a question about a call from some minor parties in the Move Forward Party-led alliance that it should wait for the Senate's term to end next May so the Prime Ministerial candidate could be elected by the House of Representatives alone. This article says May. I believe it's actually March next year, but you get the idea. Now, speaking of old fossils and dinosaurs, NationThailand.com says Kalasin's Phu Noi site reveals bones of Thailand's 13th dinosaur. And Thai and French researchers have discovered an almost complete set of bones of a new breed of dinosaur at the Phu Noi archaeological site in the northeastern province of Kalasin. I'm not even going to try and sort of get my head around what that is, was Thailand's 13th dinosaur, and its discovery was published in the 2023 edition of Diversity, an international peer-reviewed open-access journal, on July the 13th. And the new dinosaur was dubbed a small runner, as it was about 60 centimetres long. Yeah, probably give you a pretty good bite. And this plant eater is estimated to have lived during the late Jurassic period. That's about 150 million years ago, give or take a few million years. And the digging and preserving of the specimen took researchers almost 5 years. The bones are considered one of the most complete remains of dinosaurs found in Southeast Asia, said the department. And quite a few sets of dinosaur bones found up there in the northeast Thailand region. And to our next story from BangkokPost.com, China tells Myanmar to root out scam gangs, and Beijing increasingly concerned by the scale of illegal operations in Myanmar's lawless borderlands. And there's the photo. Basically shows that on one side of the river you've got Myanmar and these mini towns which have sort of been cobbled together right on the Thai border just to basically operate as scam gangs, noting that you've just got a river there separating Myanmar and Thailand. And if you have a look under the word Thailand, you've got those towers which are 5G mobile telecommunications towers, which of course the online scam gangs on the other side of the river are using to scam mostly Chinese people. And China has told Myanmar's junta to root out online scam centres in its lawless borderlands that target Chinese citizens. And criminal syndicates are accused of luring or kidnapping citizens of China and other countries to lawless enclaves along Myanmar's northern and eastern borders and forcing them to work as online scammers. The scammers typically target their compatriots and groom them for weeks before cajoling them into ploughing money into fake investment platforms and other ruses. And the scams worry Beijing, a major ally and arms supplier of the internationally isolated junta. Bit of a random sentence, but obviously very significant. Beijing's ambassador held special negotiations on Monday with the junta's foreign minister on combating crimes, including domestic communication frauds. And the ambassador said communication frauds continue to spread in Myanmar border areas, including northern Myanmar, by severely harming the personal interests of people in both China and Myanmar. And Beijing also backs and arms several ethnic rebel groups along its border with Myanmar, according to analysts. So selling arms to the junta and selling arms to the rebels that are fighting the junta. And last month, Thailand cut electricity supplies to a Myanmar border township that's home to $1 billion development that analysts say is a front for illegal gambling and online scam operations. So they know where these places are, they know what they're doing. Will they raid them and close them down? And it's not just that one in the photo at Shwe Koko, they're dotted along the Thai-Myanmar border and sort of operating as mock casinos, but basically just scam operations. Now, I am scheduled to head up there, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, to the Thai-Myanmar border areas, where there's quite a few operations, some funded by local private citizens. And I've been invited to go up there and cover some of the assistance being provided by these people for a lot of the refugees that are, massing along the border of Thailand. And some of them, of course, trying to get across. So there's this proliferation of refugee camps along the Thai-Burmese border. Now, of course, it's just complicated because the organisations that are involved, the Thai government want to be seen to be doing the right thing, but they don't want to be seen to be encouraging refugees, bloody blah, blah, blah. There's quite a lot to it, but I hope to be able to get up there in the next few weeks and at least tell you the story of what's happening on these Thai-Burmese border areas at the moment. Anyway, that is the end of a very busy day of news, headlined by the fact that Thaksin Shinawatra going to be coming back to Thailand on August the 11th, and that is just about all that social media is going to be talking about for the next few weeks. Please subscribe to the channel. A big thank you to 5 Star Marine for their ongoing support, and especially a big thanks to you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.